Kakadosh, Boker Or, Daf Yomi, Masechet, Avodah Zarah. Chodesh Tov, Daf Tet Amud Aleph, beautiful Gemarot. Yeah, says the Gemara. We are talking about the concept right now where there were so many Rotzchim that the Sanhedrin went to Galut in order for them not to kill, but they didn't want to kill anybody. So therefore, it was 180 years, right, before the Churban Habayit, correct? That was all the, what was the thing? It was 180 shana kodem shnechrav habayit. No, there's 180 shana kodem shnechrav b'pashta malchuta d'sha'a. 80 shana gazut otam al haaretz, 40 shana, right? Sanhedrin galta. So says the Gemara, are you going to tell me that it was only 180 years before the Churban Habayit, right? That what? That they were pashta malchuta d'sha'on? That means the Romans only came in at 180 years towards the end of the Bet HaMikdash. 180 vetulo. Vatani Rabbi Yosef Rabbi, right? He comes and he says, we already taught, right? Rabbi Yosef Rabbi. He says, Malchut Peras bifnei habayit 34 shana. He says, Malchut Pras in Eretz Yisrael was before the Bayit Hasheni, was 34 shana. Yeah, he comes and he says, was 34 years, right? Malchut Yavan, when he comes and he talks about Malchut Yavan bifnei habayit, which is going to be bifnei habayit, was 180 shana, was 180 years. Malchut Chashmonaim bifnei habayit, Malchut Chashmonaim bifnei habayit was 103 years. And then was Malchut Beturdus 103. Mikam va'elach, from then onwards, Tzeva Chashov, Kama Shanim Achar Churban Habayit. Go check how many years was it until the Churban Habayit. So here, you actually, okay, you have it here. Look in the footnote. It says over there, right, Beseder Olam, right, and Rashi. He comes and he brings it down. Yeah, he comes and he says, right, if you're going to be 100 years after the Churban, right, when right now you're going to have the Braita, it says, Mikam velach tzeva chashov 100 shana achar Churban, right, 100 years after the Churban. Okay, so says the Gemara, Alma, so you see from here, Matan v'shitavu, that it was really be'emet, right? Malchut Risha was really be'emet 206 years. It wasn't 180 years. When you just told me it was 180. So it actually comes out that it was 206 years before, right? We said, how many years before the destruction of Bet HaMikdash did you have Malchut Romi? So we said it was 180. Now we're retracting. We're saying be'emet, it's going to be how much? 206. Yeah? Ela rather, Esrim v'shit shin, right? Kamu be'mnutayhu ba'ad Yisrael. For 26 years, right? They were good with the Jews. Velo ishtabdu behu, and therefore they were meshabed the Jews. Ve'amtu lahachi lokach shilcha shevlu. So therefore, because of that, right? Because of that, there was no. It was not considered part of the account. Meaning, if you're going to tell me I was 206. 180 to 206, 26 years. We said the 26 years that you remember we said that if you guys are the kings, so then we're the so therefore once they were Mishatef, those 26 years were not counted. Right? Those 26 years were not counted. That's when it's going to count. That was going to be 180 years. Okay. So Amar of Papa comes and he says, I tae hai tana. Yeah? Aywa. Tetamud Aleph. Itai hai Tana. Right? If right now this Braita, this is the Tana that's going to come and teach a whole bunch of Braitot, right? And he's going to try to find out the Minyan Churban Habayit. And he's not sure. Velo yada prate kamava. So he doesn't know how to find it. Right? Lishalya lesafra kama kativ. He should ask the Sofer whether he's the one that's writing Gitin or Shtarechov, and he's going to tell you the Tarikh according to the Malchut Yavan. Okay? Venitfe alayhu, right? And then what you're going to do is, Esrin Shanin, you have to just add 20 years. Okay? Meaning, so for example, let's say it's going to be 15, so you just have to add 20 years, and then you know it's going to be 35. Umashkach lei lechumrei, and that's how you're going to find out the pitaron. The simanach, and what's a siman? Zeli esrim shana bevetecha. Right? He says, I was here 20 years in your house. Who's this referring to? No. Yaakov Lavan. Yaakov tells Lavan, I'm 20 years in your house. So therefore, all you have to do is add 20 years, and then you know when is the Khurban Habayit. Yeah? So everyone understood. So he comes and he says that it all depends according to whatever it is that they're going to tell you, right? Because basically, just like nowadays, right? Leminyanam, we do 2025, right? When we want to find out what year is 2025, what are you supposed to do?
What year is the Hebrew year?
Yes.
How much we need to wait to the 2025? How much?
60 years.
60? And then what?
And then you get it.
What you get? It's not too.
Pay attention. What's the Hebrew calendar date? 5785. What's the English? 25. So whenever you add 60, you're able to get it. So for example, if I want to know what year is the year 2000, which is 25 years ago, right? So 2025. So what year is 2000? So you do 5785 minus 25.
57?
85 minus 25 is 5760. No, 5760, meaning when I want to find out, right? Which one? 5785 or 5785. Pay.
If we're in 20, if we're in year 2025, if I want to know the Hebrew year, how do you get it?
Add 60 and you get to the Hebrew.
The last two digits.
Plus 60.
Yes.
Only the last two digits.
Yeah, the last two digits. Add 60 years and you get it. So now you have it.
Hey.
So says now the Gemara as follows. So we just made a simple calculation to find out that all you have to do is you add 20 years to whatever the Sofrim are writing down, and then they add on. Because remember that the Sofrim, right, when they're going to come and they're going to write down their cheshbonot, right, it was always just a 20 years difference. Okay, now he comes and he says as follows. Itaye Safre, if the Sofer is not sure what exactly is, how many years is it from Malchut Yavan, and the Shaila Letana Kama Chashiv, ask the Tana how much there is, then you say now it's in Shirin, and then just take off 20 years. Yeah, Umashkach Lelechumre, and then he's going to find out the Cheshbon. The Simanech, Safra Betzira, Tana Tosfa'a. So the Siman is that the Sofer is always less, and the Tana is always more. Okay? So that's why he said it's the Tosefta. Right? He says Tana's Tosefta. Tosfa'a. It's like Tosafot. So you're always adding on. Okay? Fine. Now he comes and he says like this. Tana V'Eliyahu. Right? We learned in a Braita. Right? This is Eliyahu Navi comes and he's going to teach us the following. Sheshet alafim shana ave olam. The world is 6,000 years. Shnei alafim, 2,000 years, right, is tohu. Why is it considered tohu? There's no Torah. So therefore, the first 2,000 years is mamash tohu, right? There's nothing there. Yeah? And now he comes and he says, right, the Gemara is going to speak about each part, obviously. Shnei alafim is going to be Torah. Shnei alafim is going to be Yemot HaMashiach. Ba'avonotenu sherabu, because of our big sins, because of our sins, that they had so many of them, yatsu mehen mash yatsu mehen. A lot of them already came out. Yeah, meaning that, listen, the last 2,000 years, we could have already had Mashiach. But because of our sins, obviously, it didn't come yet. Yeah, so therefore, that's what happens. Right, but remember, we're right now in 5785. You have until 6,000. So you have 2,215 years, right? That's left. One second. Right? So you have 215 years left to the 6,000. But really, be'emet, look how much has already passed by. So Shnei alafim Torah me'emat. When does the 2,000 of Torah start? Matan Torah. If you're going to tell me now that it starts from Matan Torah, ad hashta, and until now, right? Leka kulehai. It's not that much. It's not alpayim shana. Dechimayin tebehu tre alfe prate tehai alfa hu davai. He says this is actually going to be 2,000 years, right? And until a few other years afterwards, right? Between them, because Matan Torah happened right after the Elef HaShlishi. It didn't happen during the Elef HaShlishi, right? When was the Matan Torah?
from the beginning of the world, according to what you said, is 2,000 years, but it's not.
When was Avraham Avinu born? לא שומע.
1948.
1948. Yeah, 1948.
יש סיכוי שמצב.
מה? Yeah, he comes and he says like this. Yeah. The question that we're going to ask ourselves is that, right? Is that when was Yetziat Mitzrayim? 500 years later. Why did we say, right? Which one? Why? We said that Avraham Avinu was how old when Yitzchak was born? 100 years old, right? 99 was when he did the Brit Milah. 100 years was when he did. We did this already. We did this Gemara already. 1948. We did this one night already. We did all the cheshbonot already. Yeah. Listen carefully. Yeah. 1948 plus 100 years. 500 years. 100 was until Yitzchak was born. And when Yitzchak was born, he told HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, right, that from Yitzchak there are going to be 400 years in slavery, right? So therefore, it's going to be 500 Tzachakol. So until Yitzchak Mitzrayim. So Avram Nolad. So 2448 is going to be Yetziat Mitzrayim. Exactly. That's when we got the Torah that year.
So the next few years, no?
1 minute. Yeah. So therefore, right? No, they got the Torah immediately after Yitzhak Mitzrayim. The same year. It was a month and a half later. Shavuot, Aywa, from Pesach to Shavuot. Yeah? Fine. So Pesach until Shavuot. So 2448. So 2448 was Matan Torah. So how could you tell me that after 2,000 years was already Torah? If you're going to count from Matan Torah, it was 448 years into it. It wasn't. What? Guys. Shh. Yeah, 1 minute. The question is, if right now we're going to come and we're going to have the 2,000 years, he says it does not make sense. But he says it's going into it. Matan Torah ira kama shanim achar tchilat elef hashlishi. It happened a few years into it. So therefore, from Matan Torah until Sof elef haravi, right? You don't have, it's less than 2,000 years. So answers the Gemara, Ela but rather, right? When does the Alpayim Shana start? It says, Ve'et nefesh asher asu b'charan. Right? Meaning that we know that Avraham Avinu was born, we said already, in 1948. When he was born in 1948, what happened is that he came and he started bringing the Torah to the people, because it says, Ve'et nefesh asher asu b'charan. What does that mean? Gemide, we have a tradition, a masoret, the Avraham Avinu, Be'ahi shata bar chamshin v'tarte hava. He was 52 years old. Because 1948, he was 52 years old when he was there. Right? You have it here. Mesora biyadenu she'Avraham haya ben 52 shana ba'et hahi. He says, why? Because it says, ben 5 shanim ו70 shana בצאתו מחרן, ולא ben 52. אולם, בסדר עולם, היה כתוב שזה היה 52. הוא אומר פה, על ידי צירוף הגילאים, מימי האדם הראשון עד לידתו של אברהם אבינו, נגיע לסך של 1948. אשר מכך עולה שאברהם נולד ב-1948, שנה אחר הבריאה. ומאחר שאברהם אבינו החל להפיץ את התורה בעולם כשהיה בגיל 52, so therefore, right, כמה בצרה מדתנה תנה, so therefore how much is going to be left over? So he says, 448, right, 448 שנים הווה. כי מאין תבהו, he says, when you're going to be מעיין, הנפש אשר עשו בחרן מתן תורה, 448 שנים הוויין. So it's going to be 448 years, correct? So he says this is the 448 years. So now if you're going to add, right, to the years until the Sof Elef HaRevi'i, it comes out that that's when he already started being Megayer, right, the Anashim. And therefore it's going to be Alpaim Shana. Okay, so now it makes sense. Basically, we said that it's going to be 2,000 years of Torah. It is 2,000 years of Torah, but it's not from Matan Torah. It's from when Avraham Avinu started spreading the Torah, and that was at the year 2000. Because he was 1948, he was born, and the year 2000, when he was 52, that's when he actually started coming, 1 minute. Yeah, that's when he started coming and he started disseminating the Torah. Once he was disseminating the Torah at the year 2000, now it makes sense why you have the first 2,000 years, and then you have the second 2,000 years. Okay? So now he comes and he says, Amar Rav Papa. Rav Papa comes and he says, person's going to make a mistake and he doesn't know what year they are. Right? So now he comes and he says, just ask a sofer, what's he writing? The shtarot. Right? According to the Malchut Yavan. And then you're going to add on 48 years. Right? And then you're going to get the siman. And simanech, what is the siman? 48 ir. 48 cities. Right? What are the 48 cities? Areal Vim. Yeah, Areal Vim. There's 48 cities of Leviim, right? That they were also in total, right? So he comes and he says, this is Arbaim Ushmone Gam, 48. Yeah, that's why. It was Areal Vim. So he says, Vitaya Safra. Now, if you're going to come and you're going to tell me, right, that there's going to be, right, the mistake, ask him how much he has, and then take off 48. Safra Betzira Tana Tosfa. Amar Rav Huna bered Rav Yoshua. Yeah, he says Rav Huna bered Rav Yoshua. Hayman de lo yada kama shane beshavua. If somebody doesn't know which year of the Shemitah are we in, Uomed. Yeah, so what are you going to do now? Right? So, but he does know when was the Churban Bayit. So, nitve chad shata, add 1 year, right, to the Churban, and nichshev klale biyovele, and then be mechashev the minyan klali, which is the hundreds, right, of the Yovelim, uprate b'shavua, right, and the minyan prati of the Sfarot Acharot of the Asrot v'Achadot, v'nishkal mimea trei. In order to do that, you're going to take from 100, you're going to take off 2. V'nishte aprat, and you're going to add it to the minyan prati. V'nechshevinu li prati b'shavua, and then you're going to divide it in the Sheva Shanims. V'yada kama shenei b'shavua, and you're going to find out how many, right, where are you up to in the Shemitah. V'simanech, what is a siman? Ki zeh shnatayim ra'av b'kerev haaretz. It's going to be 2 years of ra'av in the land. So everyone paid attention one more time. Bnei Yisrael, they started the Shviyot, right, after the 14 shana of Kivush Haaretz. Meaning it wasn't from the time of Yitziat Mitzrayim. It was after the 14 shana of Kivush Haaretz. Okay, the Shemitah. Okay, and they stopped counting, right? So they started again counting it when they went back during the Bayit Hasheni. So therefore, if you don't know which Shnat Shemitah there are, you could be mechashev et ze al pi Shnat Shemitah that had happened beforehand. So the Shanim Shavru me'ota Shemitah, you could be mechalek et ze b'sheva, v'hu yikabel minyan Shmitot Shavru me'az. Ve'ashanim hanotarot al minyan Shmitot. So that's whatever machzor you're going to be. So for example, let's say it's 20 years from Shemitah Yedua. So obviously divide 20 by the 7, right? And then you're going to have that you had 2 Shmitot, that's 14 years, plus 6 years. So therefore, that's how you find out how it is. The Gemara now is going to come and teach you how to do the count. So he comes and he says like this: Atzorech losif shana is mevusas al shte udot. Number 1, Churban Bayit Hasheni ira shana achar shnat Shemitah. Meaning, 1 year after Shemitah was the Churban Bayit. Okay? And number 2, asfira shel achar achurban lo echela ki im b'shana shel achar achurban. So first of all, the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed 1 year after Shemitah. And the cheshbon of the Shanim only started 1 year after that. Okay, but he says because it happened in Tisha B'Av, right, which is 2 months until the end of the year, and then that's when it had the next year. So therefore, it comes out that the Churban happened in the Shana Rishona b'machzor Shemitah, v'asfira shel shnot HaChurban, right, matchila b'shana shniya lemachzor Shemitah. So if so, it happens. So in order to know the year, you have to take off 2 years. Okay? One more time. You had Shemitah. Shemitah, we still had the Bet HaMikdash. The year after Shemitah, the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed. But when the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, you only started the year after. It was the Shon Shabbat. You only have the Rosh Hashanah 2.5 months later, right? So whatever, a month and a half later, right? So what's happening? So what happens is that because you have it only later, it's 2 years difference. And that's the pshat, ki zeh shnatayim hara'av bekerev haaretz. So, לפני החורבן, לא, לא שעשו שמיטה השנה אחרי, אבל לעשות את החשבון, את הספירה, is only the year after. You're going to deduct. Because you're trying to find out when a Shemitah, so you're deducting to get to Shemitah. Shnatayim. No, because you have to add another one. So one. Yes, you're going backwards 2 years. So he says like this. He says, Shnata Yovel. 1 second. He says like this. Shnata Yovel is going to be the Shana, right after the Machzor of the Sheva Shmitot. So now there's a Machloket Tanaim. Is the Yovel actually 50 years? Or is it the 49th year, right? That's what we always say. So then basically he wants to say like this. So Shnat 57 is Shnat Shemitah Ba. Shnat 100 is Shnat Yovel Ba. So the Gemara is going to come and say, okay, he's holding like Rav Yehuda, that besides that you also have it. So he says, really, Be'emet, it's going to be Shnat Shemitah is 56 and Shnat Yovel is 99. Fine. So now he comes and he says, right, like this. He says, look in Mispar Sheva. Right? קל יותר לחלק מספר גדול בשבע על ידי חילוקו למספר כללי. כלומר, למאות ולמספר פרטי זה עשרות ויחידות. You got the ones and tens. Those are denominations. And then you got the hundreds. So לדוגמה, 520 years after the Khurban, you could be מחלק את זה after you add 1 year to 521. So it says 521 יחידות. Afterwards, what you do is, במקום לחלק כל 100 בשבע, אפשר פשוט לחלק כל 100 לשתי תקופות של 49. Right? So therefore, and then the 49 is לחלקים. So בכל 100 שנה, you've got 2 תקופות of 49 years. And then you have 2 years left over. Okay? So therefore, he comes and he says, סך זה, right, מתווסף למספרם הפרטיים, אשר עד כה לא נלקחו בחשבון. So he says, כעת יש לחלק So basically like this. I've got 521 years. Okay? So now like this. Instead of doing 521 divided by 7, זה מאוד מסובך. מה אני עושה? מאוד פשוט. Every 100 years, what do I have? I've got 2 groups of 49. Correct or not? Every 100, I have 2 groups of 49 plus 2 years. So what I do is that first start with the hundreds. Correct or not? Everyone's with me or not? One more time. Every 100 years, right? I've got 2 groups of 49. No, 2 groups of Yovel, right? Which is each one is 7 Shmitot. So therefore, instead of coming and saying 521, I'm going to come and take the calculator. I'm going to come and going to do 521 lechalek lesheva. That is going to come out to 74.4, whatever it is. What I just do is like this. Every 100 years is 2 groups of 49.
Divide 521.
So if I have 500, right? 500. How many hundreds do I have?
10.
So I've got 10. So 10 49s, correct?
Plus 20.
Iowa. Yeah. Every 100 years, I've got 2 groups of 49. So if 500 years, I've got 10 groups of 49. But in every single year, I had 2 years left over.
Every single
So it's 10 more years. Every single 100 years, I've got 2. So in 500 years, I've got another 10 days. Correct?
20.
So I had 521. 521. How many shmitot did I have in 521 years? So in the 500 years, how many shmitot? If I've had in the 500 years 10 groups of 49. What? Why 14 times 5? One more time.
70.
70. Very good.
14 times 5.
Ah, okay, fine. Okay, you go.
7 and 7 every year.
Okay. You already went to the small number. Okay, fine. So you already have 70. So in the 500 years, what?
10.
Sorry. So one more time. Every 100 years, you got how many? 14 Shemitahs. Because you've got 2 groups of 14 Shemitahs. Shemitah, 2 Yovels. And, right? So one more time. Every 100 years, 2 Yovels, the Jubilee. Jubilee is 50 years, right? And you've got 14 Shemitahs because every every yovel is 7 times 7, 49. So you got 14 times 5. 14 times 70. Chazak Baruch. What do I have left over? If I said in 2 years every single year, every mea shana, you've got 2 years over. So if you've got 500, right? So every 100, right? You've got 2 years. So it's 10 years. What? No, 1 second. 1 second. Very good. So 1 second. So now I had 521. I took care of the 500. 500, I just told you. How many Shemitahs? 70 Shemitahs plus 10 years. I had 21. So 10 with the 21 is 31. Correct or not? Yeah. So therefore, now I'm going to say how many now are Shemitahs are in 31 years.
74 and 3.
Or whatever it is. Yes, exactly.
לא, ב-21 הוא אומר, ישר תיקח את זה, תעשה מזה עוד
31 הגענו.
31.
לא, אבל מה-21.
Says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Chanina, says Rabbi Chanina, Achar 400 lechurban abayit, after 400 years of churban abayit, im yomar lecha adam, if a person is going to tell you, kach sadeh, yeah, shaveh, 1,000 dinarim bedinar echad, if a person is going to come and tell you, you know what, take this sadeh, it's worth 1,000 dinarim, and take it for 1 dinar, lo tikach, don't buy it. Why? Because it should already stop after 400 years after Churban Abayit. Yeah? So he comes and he says, right? He comes and he says it should already stop, which is actually going to be incredible. Yeah? So he comes and he says, that means Bnei Yisrael yitasfu beretz Yisrael, and they're going to get Nachalat Avotam. So it's lo kedai in order to come and to get it. Meaning, right, obviously it didn't happen. Right? But he was trying to tell you, right? You know, as if to say, don't do it. He says, because that's a Zman which is Misugal for Bo'olo Shel Mashiach. Yeah? So he comes and he says now, right? B'matznita Tana, Achar 4,000 ו-231 shana lebriat olam. After 4,000, right? And 231, 231 years to Briat Olam. Okay, this is based upon the Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin. Because the Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin says, "En haolam pachot mi-85 yovelot," which that means the world has to be minimum of 85 yovels, which is basically going to be 4,200 shana, 4,200. And then it says, "Ubi-yovel ha'acharon ben David ba." Right? So he comes and he says, so therefore he comes and he says, after 4,231 years of Briat Olam, if a person is going to come and tell you that go take this sadeh for 1,000 dinar for 1 dinar, al tikach, don't take it. So he comes and he says, "My benayu." What's the difference between them? 3 years is the difference between them. Because this one said 4,231, and the first one was 400 after Churban Abayit. How much was 400 after Churban Abayit? What did I tell you? Churban Abayit was 3828. 400 years later, 28. 400 years later, 4228. 28 plus 400, 4228. What did he say? 4231. So my benahu, what's the difference? 3 years. The matnita tafya tlat shani. That the Braita was adding 3 years.